up, gets nothing effect. Has that one taken away by Troy Hellman. It seems like this could be.
Hello and welcome to the Overwatch League Recap, a talk show focusing on the Overwatch League. I am Blazin' Bob, and today I am joined by I Play Games, aka Andres. How you doing, brother?
You mean Andres, aka I Play Games? Although I can see how you would think my name has become I Play Games. I am okay with it.
I mean, we were at all the different events today, at all the parties. I'm pretty sure I got everybody calling you I Play instead of anything else.
I am okay with that.
I don't know. I heard Kristen call him Andreas.
Oh, yeah. I felt so vindicated
That would be
when
weird
Kristen
if
was...
My girlfriend calls me I Play Games.
Well, but when she was calling you Andreas, I felt so vindicated in, all right, guys, maybe I don't say Andres correctly, but Andres' girlfriend says Andreas. So I felt a little better on that account. And also, we're joined by Mel, a.k.a. Miss Gorgeous. How are you doing?
I'm recovering.
Recovering. Trying hard.
I am alive. It is confirmed.
Yeah, Paul knows how to throw a party.
Indeed.
Atlanta Reign, like that, he's just right at the top of the show, man. One of the best owners the Overwatch League could ask for. I mean, this guy threw an amazing event, and just hats off to him.
For sure.
All right, well.
It was epic.
Do you want to say anything else?
I just said it was epic.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move into the show. We got a lot to talk about. We'll be talking a lot about the homestand, but we wanted to start the show out always by thanking our recap producer Shazir. Thank you so much. I don't see him in chat, but hopefully he shows up. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit of league news. We're going to talk mostly about the homestand. I don't know that we're going to get into specifics of the games because the way these things work, and all three of us were there, the way these things work is we're doing interviews from the start of the next match till about halftime. So we only get to watch like half of the games there. We have to watch VODs to catch up. But honestly, the games, there was not one map 5 throughout the entire weekend. It was all 3-1s or 4-0s. So I don't know how important that is to this actual weekend. That's something that can be fixed with scheduling, next season. But let's just go ahead and jump right in. Now, the first thing Mel has at the top of this list is Pete Vlastelica named commissioner of the Overwatch League. Now, I thought this was already stated.
Okay, I think it was. But last time we talked about it, we were all kind of like, I don't know who it is.
Oh,
And
by
I
the
think
way,
maybe this was brought up, but it's fine. It's here. So I just wanted to say it.
yeah, and I was actually completely wrong. He was not the guy I thought he was that gave me the tour opening week. I saw them together this weekend, so I was like, oh, okay, they just look very similar. But yeah, so
I will say one thing. We haven't heard much or seen much of the new commissioner, right? I feel like Nate was a very outspoken or at least outgoing person on social media. And we got to hear and see a lot of him. And maybe it was because it was the beginning of our Watch League, right? And he needed to be out there basically speaking in behalf of the league. But I haven't heard much from Pete. Have there been any official appearances by him or anything like that? Because I feel like as commissioner of the league, you want to be sort of the face of the league, right? Or at least be out there with everyone
There's
else.
a picture of him in front of the Atlanta Homestand Weekend thing. I think he was there. I just don't know how.
You don't think he was there? He was sitting next to us for a while.
Okay, well, I didn't know it was him.
I pointed him out to you. Okay, we were really busy, so maybe you didn't notice. But I did. He was in the media area a ton during Saturday. I didn't see him on Sunday, but so he might have just come in and left after Saturday. I'm not sure, but you're exactly right. Like if that had been Nate in the media area, he would have been walking around talking to everybody, getting their thoughts, kind of feeling the room to see how it felt. But he didn't even come introduce himself to the different media outlets. So I'm wondering how
But to
front
be
facing he's going to be going forward. And there's not a,
but
I'm
to
not
be
saying it's a bad
fair,
thing. It's just different.
right? But to be fair, they just put out an article on the Overwatch League site that he's the new commissioner. So like,
Maybe he's just
yes,
warming up. But
right,
I feel like if you're going into filling his shoes, right, you at least want to make yourself known. And yeah, like Bob say, make at least your rounds around, introduce himself to people. Granted that we are like the lobies of the people to be introduced to, right? Like he might have been
right.
talking to Paul, to team owners, to some of more of the big guys and big players are looking to organize these events and move forward.
I
But
don't think he talked to
But I
Eddie
feel
though.
like
And I mean,
Nate,
Eddie's got a channel with 800,000 subs, you know?
but I feel like Nate was the type of guy that would talk to anybody, right?
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
Nate went to
The kid.
Guildhall
Yeah, the kid
and had a
outside Guildball.
conversation with a 19-year-old about Farah, right? Like, and not that this guy needs to be that person. Like, I just feel like that's what people are kind of used to an extent. But I also think that they need to make a bigger deal out of this because people loved Nate. And
I think it makes a huge difference. Are you kidding me? Like, for example, having somebody like Jeff Kaplan leading the Overwatch team makes a huge difference. Just look, for example, like I look at Hearthstone that used to have Ben Brode, which I think was also an amazing leader. And
yeah,
since he's left, the social media presence of Hearthstone, I feel like has gone down a little bit. It's not the same anymore. They don't have that like cool phase and cool guy that like when he tells you something you want to listen, right? Because like it's
right.
just a pleasant person to listen to. So I think it makes a difference being able to have that social media presence if you're gonna be the head at least of one of these huge projects, right?
So should we have like, hi, I'm Pete from the Overwatch League videos, right? Like it'll be
I'm
like
not saying
league
he has to
update
make
videos.
videos and a bunch of stuff, but
Oh, come
least
on.
that would be cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, but who knows what his demeanor is? Maybe he's not a video guy. It was like Bob was saying. It's not necessarily that it's bad. It's just different, and we're definitely not used to it. So we'll see. We'll see how we move forward with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the perfect choice, if Monty was just 10 years older, perfect choice right there. Commissioner of the league, but there's no way he should stop his career at the moment. You know, but like he would be a great choice. You know what I mean?
It's a
But
different set of skills though.
yeah, but Monty showed with interviews, his YouTube and everything, he definitely has the skills for that job.
I vote for Susie.
Oh, Susie'd be great too. Susie'd be
See?
great. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, good call. Sorry. Just passed right over me. Didn't even think of it.
Yep.
So the Atlanta
Typical
homestand
male.
sells out. Now, we didn't have any thoughts that this would ever not sell out, right?
No, I just think it's good that it did. I mean, there was still tickets available, I think like a week before, wasn't there?
Yeah, I don't know if it 100% sold out, but
It
very
did.
nearly.
It did.
Well, I mean, yeah,
There
we
was a sign
yeah, we went
that
out
said
to
sold
vape
out.
at the box office every time, and so it was the entire time it was sold out sign.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's more because the people would oscillate, right? Not everyone was going to all of the games. Definitely the Atlanta games were the most packed, where almost the whole venue was filled up.
Oh
But
yeah.
for some of the other games, the attendance was a little lighter. And it makes sense, right? It's like an 8-hour day or like a 6-hour day. It's a very long event.
It's like
And
going to
I
see
feel
the
like,
opening band versus the like main band, right? Like the
right.
opening band, it's like, okay. And then everybody's there when the main show comes on.
Yep, and that's
The thing that
exactly
they
how it
did that
was
was
in
weird.
Dallas, though, too.
The thing that did that was weird was that they left the game for after the main event, and I think that was a little bit short-sighted. Because come on, it's like you said, Mel. You go see the opening act, then you go see the main act. If there's an act after the main act, there's like three people that are gonna stay and hang out. Everyone
Right.
else is just gonna leave, and I feel like that's kind of what happened a little bit. I feel bad for the last few games because the attendance definitely did have a sharp drop.
A sharp drop. There was like 30 people there at the last game on Saturday. I like walked in because I was like, Bob, I want to go see how many people are in the arena right now. And I walked in and I was like, oh,
Dude, it
oh,
was a ghost town Saturday
yeah.
after the Atlanta game. It was, I couldn't believe it. I was just, okay, well, good try. But that's the same way. Okay, so they did do, Dallas was the last game, the game four on both days at the Dallas homestand. But it was still the same. Like, the arena was half full the entire time every other team played. When Dallas came out, every butt was in a seat, and it was crazy town. All right, well, let's move on to some team news. Kookie retires from Al. Now, Kookie, Lucio Extraordinaire, aka Main Tank at the start of season 2.
I just feel like he didn't know what he was doing with his life. So he was like, I got to figure it out.
Oh yeah, I feel bad for Cookie because I feel like he was a good player, but he could never find his niche. And I
hmm
think that he got passed around role to role, and he could never solidify himself as a great either support or tank. And I think that bit him in the ass at the end, right? Like he just got let go.
Yeah, I mean he was in season 1. He never really found uh, any starting role. He got moved teams, and then he got made to play main tank as a support player. And I don't know. He's probably just tired of it. Probably just thinking he can jump to another game, get play time. So good luck to Kookie. Let's jump right in and talk about the homestand weekend. So the weekend started out with Bren versus Baby Bay Widow 1v1. Now I almost missed this because it was at the very start of the event, but I caught it right around the second round, and it actually was pretty entertaining. Baby Bay, he took a lot of different times where he made it entertaining rather than just taking Bren out immediately. He danced in
Which he
front of
could
him.
have.
He like
I
danced
feel
in
like
front of
yeah,
him,
it could have been a
crouched, and
7-0 if he
like
wanted to.
kept
Like it
like
could have been
moving
a
the head
30
model.
second event.
Yeah, but Baby Bay is an entertainer, so he made sure to draw it out, but made sure not to lose. And I thought it was pretty funny because Brand at one point in the match gets a kill, throws his coat off, and he's got no shirt on under the coat. And then they play one match. He's like, hold on, hold on, hold on. He had to put it back on because it was so cold in the
He did
arena.
not say hold on. He literally just went AFK in Spawn to put his jacket on. And Sideshow, I think, is casting it. Is like, he's just AFK. I don't understand. Epic.
The casting of it was pretty good too.
I will say though, I wished that, and maybe they did a better job on Twitch, but on at the arena, literally these 1v1s, it was like a guessing game. It was like, I think it might happen now. I think it might happen before this game. Like, I wish they would have made it more like apparent to everybody, like what time these events were going to happen. And I know they weren't the main events, but like for real, they were.
I thought they
Right?
were super entertaining. Yeah, I thought it would have been a little bit better if they made it a little bit more known when they were gonna happen. Because I do remember asking like 5 different people, like, "Hey, when is the Fran Torb versus Mangachu?" And 2 people told me 2 different things. And then eventually I found out that it was happening right as I was finishing the interviews. I was like, no, I missed it live. I had to like rewatch it later that day.
We even asked
Okay.
Fran,
Yeah, I
and
was
he
just
was
about to say
like,
I asked Fran,
Yeah,
his
even the friend
sister,
didn't know.
and his mom, and none of them knew.
yeah, like we asked Fran, and he's like, I think it's around like 3. And I was like, you did not answer that very confidently, so I'm not going to take your word for that. I
I
feel like you're
wouldn't
just
trust the
waiting for
friend
somebody
either.
to come get you. Like, I feel like that's what's happening right now.
And I mean, and that's well, let's just move on and we'll just talk about the two. What would you call them? What would you call them? Fun matches that don't mean anything.
Entertainment
Like
matches?
the Bud Light Bowl at the Super Bowl. It's called something, but we won't waste too much time. But let's talk about the Torb Hammer 1v1 against DeFran and Mangachu. We're there, and DeFran's just having a blast at this homestand. And the dude's so nice, taking photos with everybody, talking to everybody. His sister and his mom were there. I thought it was like super cool because Paul, the owner, definitely made a lot of money off of Fran jerseys and the hype that he had coming into the league. He had DeFran's sister, and DeFran's mom sat right next to him during the entirety of the event. And DeFran doesn't even play for him anymore. And I thought that was just really neat that he did that. But Mel ran into DeFran the day of the Torb 1v1, and DeFran was getting into character, right?
Yes, he said, true Torbjorn fashion. I am being a good Torbjorn, drinking a Bud Light.
Yep, he was
And-
outside drinking a Bud Light.
I feel like Torber is more like a craft beer kind of guy.
No, Torb's totally a Bud Light guy. Come on.
Dude, you have a point. Like Diva would be a Bud Light girl. DeFran,
Whatever. Doesn't
Torb-
Torb have like 12 kids?
yeah, he can't afford
There's
craft
no way
beer.
he's affording craft beer.
He can't afford
Come
craft
on.
beer. That's a good
He
point.
makes it himself. Are you kidding me? Within his like engineering lab or whatever it is that he has.
Oh. Then he messes it up and goes and gets Bud Light. Right? He's like, oh man.
But yeah,
I
so
thought
that
Torb 1v1 was pretty cool too, though. They were both having fun, and Mangatree definitely didn't want to lose. He's like, I'm gonna show you.
dude, he
He's
was
like, I'm still in the
serious.
league. I gotta get this going.
He was serious. He was like laser focused right on that monitor. Like he was serious about that. But I
him
thought
coming
It
out
was
and being
close.
like,
It was close.
him coming out and being like, I just have to get the first hit and I think I can win. And then DeFran coming out and be like, eyes washed up, dude. Let's go.
oh
like-
man.
Was epic.
Oh, and then the casting was epic on it too. I think it was Bren and Zoe. And Bren's like, oh no.
Section.
I thought it was
And Brennan, Zoe. It was the whole desk.
Oh, it was the whole desk? Okay. But I think it was Bren that said, and Torb's playing the crouching game now as if his legs were not already too short and too stubby. And it was just, and Zoe was like trying to make it sound like it was real commentary. I mean, it was hilarious. And the crowd was loving it. Like, the crowd was, there was, the room was entirely full when that was going on too.
I will say, even though the friend is not playing for Atlanta anymore, he is still a huge asset for the team. Like the way they can market it and like having an entertainer and a person that people want to see and talk to. I mean, that's huge because to be fair, he was the most popular Atlanta Reign person. Like Dogman and Baby Bay were also super popular and everybody wanted to talk to them. But the friend was like everyone in that venue wanted to
He
talk
was
to him.
also like walking around the entire time and like drinking Bud Light and hanging out with people. Like, you know what I mean? Like the players like weren't allowed, like not allowed, but they like were just walking around the arena. And so it also, I think there was like a portion of it that's like, hey, guess what? You want to go buy an Atlanta jersey? You could buy DeFran because that's all we have at the arena today. Sorry. Like,
Well, he
there
was so big.
more DeFran jerseys than anyone else.
He was so big that iPlay took home his head. I mean, if for the audio listeners, iPlay has a probably 3 times size, no, like 6 times size head of DeFran.
Friends, that's not
No,
that
10 times. And it's also signed. Unfortunately, we couldn't find a Sharpie, but if you're watching on video, you
Me
can
too.
see that it's signed, but it's a big head. And iPlay took that home. So
Oh my
DeFran
God.
was definitely very popular. The other big heads they had were Dogman and Baby Bay, and a lot of people took those home too. Like when we were coming home on the airport, we saw people with the big heads, and we were wearing our hats, and we were just like, "Hey," and they're like, "Hey." It was really funny.
Oh man,
Not
I
me.
really
I
wish
was
I
in
could have
like
gotten
zombie
the
mode.
Dogman and Baby Bay heads too. I'll just like hang them on my wall.
I know.
Oh my God.
I
Like the
wish we
whole
could have got
Atlanta
more.
Reign at your house.
It cracks me up every time I go by my studio and I look over and I just see the friends staring back at me.
Let's go,
Well,
dude.
he turned on Discord and then turned on his camera and then walked away. And I like get on the camera and all I see is DeFran's head. And I was like, I was like, DeFran's coming on the show tonight, guys. It's fine.
Yeah, I think that just overall the event had a lot of cool like personality moments. The players themselves made themselves very available, which I thought is great for these types of events. It
Mhm.
totally makes it worthwhile to come out as a fan, and then as you're walking through the venue, just see like the players there and just be able to come over and talk to them. And all of them are really approachable. I don't think I saw a single one of them like turn down a fan for a picture or an autograph or
No.
just a
No.
mini conversation. I mean, when they
Always
had,
very like polite and like, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, and like honestly, like most of them brought like their families to the arena and like their families were just like in awe of like, wow, I didn't really know video games were gonna get you here. You know what I mean? Like it
Dude,
was cool.
I
yeah,
talked to one of the cops that was doing security, and I was like, "You're gonna have a tough job today. Have you ever seen a rowdy nerd?" And he started laughing, and then he's like, "This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I am buying my kids a computer next week." I was like, "That's so cool." You know what I mean? Like he just sees it as something really good, keep him out of trouble, type of thing. But
oh, absolutely. And I think that's a general reaction when people actually go to these events. They're like, "Wait, what? This is this
Right.
big?" And like everyone's having fun and everyone's just being nice and talking to each other. Like it's just in general, it's always a good environment, a good time. Um, even the friend, and we keep bringing up the friend, but when we met him at the after party, I asked him like, "Dude, what do you think of the Homestead games?" And he was like, "Dude, this is crazy." In Norway or Denmark?
Denmark.
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 It was like in Denmark, nobody knows who the hell I am, and I come over here and everyone's like the friend, and they're waving giant heads of me around.
Yeah, and he's
That would be so weird.
and like what's funny is
I feel like if I went somewhere and they were waving giant heads of me around, I'd be like, no, what's happening?
it's just like XQC. Like everybody has this view of Duff Fran because of his stream, but the dude in person is so different, and it's just so inviting. And I think those two are very similar in that way. And DeFran's just so funny. Like when I was talking to him when I first got there, I was like, okay, well, I'll let's get back to what you were doing, not wanting to bother him. He's like, oh no, dude, like it seemed like he wanted to
Yeah, he's
still
like,
talk to me.
why you gotta leave? No, but they're very cool. They're very fun to hang out with. Dufresne was super awesome. But I don't think Dufresne's as much of a character on stream as XQC is, right? Like XQC was like a completely different person. Like Dufresne, I feel like is just a different person in a competitive atmosphere, right? Like he gets like worked up and like, you know, talk smack and whatnot, but like in a chill environment, he's just chill.
Yep. Well, I mean, chill enough. Talk about the first walk-in. First walk-in Saturday for the Atlanta game. They showed off this new Atlanta intro, which
Mhm.
I don't know how to describe it. It had
Fiery Phoenix.
yeah, it had the Phoenix Rising, but it was a really well put together intro, and then they start coming out. And first comes out some dude dressed in a, a Phoenix like a mascot outfit, and then come the players. Like talk
More
like
like a chicken.
it
But I
did look
like
more
I
like a
know.
chicken.
Everybody was like a chicken phoenix looking kind of thing. And like, but he comes out and then all the players get announced and they come out and then Dufresne is obviously the chicken or the phoenix. And he takes off his little mascot head and everybody, is in an uproar of love. And he even I'm pretty sure he kicked the phoenix head into the crowd. Pretty sure
I'm
that
pretty sure he
happened.
did. Yeah, that chicken
Into
head
the
somewhere.
into the fireworks into the crowd. So
For a second, I thought that head was gonna catch on fire
right.
and
We
murder
were
somebody,
lucky.
but
We
I
were
think
lucky.
he didn't. No, I think he was good.
Right? What a homestand, right? And sorry guys, but Dufresne just kicked a fiery chicken head into
Let's
the
go,
crowd.
We
dude.
gotta call it a day. Everybody exit through the fire doors.
He said the
Oh my
most
God.
excited "Let's go, dude" I've ever heard in my life, though, when
Oh
he took
yeah.
that head
Oh
off.
yeah.
Yeah, when they right before the Atlanta game started, they
I
were
wonder how much he had to bite his tongue to not say one of his little Dufresne things, like sub on Twitch Prime or something.
I don't even think he wanted to. I think he was just so what is happening right now? And I think the Atlanta players realized this weekend and the Dallas players realized at the Dallas homestand, it's nutty being around a crowd that's all cheering for you. Because week in and week out, they're around a crowd that's like, yay. And then they were in this crowd that was just super hype Atlanta. And I think it was good for him.
I mean, that's what a lot of the players said when we asked them the question, like, "Hey, what do you guys think of the Atlanta Homestand games, all that stuff?" And all of them were just awestruck. Like, this is insane. There's so many people cheering. You can definitely hear the rumble in the stage, and you can hear the roars. And Atlanta, all of them admitted, like, "Oh yes, we were fueled by it. We were confident. We felt right at home. They were
Well, we saw
energized."
Baby Bay being fueled by it when he was cooking heads on Widow.
Oh my god, yeah, he was feeling it. And then they admitted too, they were like, I think the teams are playing, I think they're choking in
Mhm.
certain moments. Because it even happened against Toronto when they were playing against Toronto. I think Toronto had a pretty good second map and was actually about to bring it home. And then all of a sudden, just full held on the second round. Like, you guys are not going anywhere. And
Yep.
it was almost like Atlanta just had like that extra boost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've heard like what I will call wrong arguments that home field won't matter in sports because their reasoning for home field working is that the refs are intimidated by crowds. Not true. Everybody who says that doesn't really watch sports much, but and
Yeah.
they say it's differences in size of size of field and things like that, and I say no. I say it's the energy the crowd feeds you. It's like Dragon Ball Z when everybody gives Goku their power and he uses that to power up. It's like the same thing, and they all talked about how big it was for them to just whoo, and they walked off stage. They're just like they have all this energy that they don't know what to do with because they just got fed.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely just an energy thing. And I think it's interesting that not interesting because it's like a small sample size, right? But we've had two homestand events and Dallas won both of their homestand games and Atlanta won both of their homestand games. And yes, we can say they played easier teams, but it doesn't really matter. They went out there with a different energy than they would have. And when the schedule was made, nobody knew who was going to be good and who was going to be bad. So there's no way there's this conspiracy of hey, we're just going to make their homestand games easy. That's just not a thing. But
No,
I
that's
do
too hard to
think,
predict. That would have been like
yeah,
insane prediction by the creators
right.
of the
I
schedule.
mean,
Like, oh yeah,
apparently they
Mayhem
did a very
is still
good
gonna be
job.
mediocre. Toronto is not gonna amount to anything. Was not true. Like Toronto has popped off in the past. Mayhem has popped off in the past. I mean, the standings don't speak super well for them.
I
So we
mean,
lucked
dude,
out a little bit there. But then again, yeah, you can't really predict that.
half of the pros that I talked to Saturday night said, looking at the way Mayhem played the day before, they weren't sure Atlanta was gonna win. Dogman said he would come on our show if they won. So either he likes us or he didn't think he was gonna win. Like
That's super
Mayhem
confident.
was
Like, yeah, I'll never go
also
on the show.
very Mayhem was also very confident. And it's funny, I talked to some Mayhem fans and they were talking about how they think that they were going to be just as loud as the Atlanta fans, right? And I was like, listen, guys, I hate to burst your bubble, but like I went to the Dallas homestand and there was like 40% Dallas fans there. And they were literally just like drowned out
what?
when Dallas did something.
There was like
Oh,
one
40
dude. There was
you're
like one
trying
dude
to
in
say
Florida Mayhem.
40%. You're trying to say
Houston
40%
fans.
Houston fans.
Houston fans.
It
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't, it was maybe
I know it was like 30,
20%.
20, whatever. But there was a lot of us, right? But like it just when the moment comes, it's like the hype guys are there for Dallas. The speakers are there for Dallas.
Well,
Like
I talked to Bare Hands Saturday night for a good chunk of time. He's going to come on the show too, guys, so stay tuned for that. But
Bare Hands talent scout for Florida Mayhem, for those who don't know.
yeah, the guy who helped build NYXL season 1. But I got to talk to him and I was in agreement with him that Mayhem definitely had a shot. But when you came out with that crowd, all of a sudden all bets are off and there's a definite advantage in one direction. And it was neat to see for the second time, and I believe it's a real thing, and home crowds are going to be important to team franchises moving forward.
can we talk about our Mayhem Maniacs friend?
Yes, we'll go ahead and transition right in there. So there wasn't a ton of like outward Mayhem fans, like Kinder, for instance. Saturday, it was kind of quiet, and then Sunday at the start of the day, he bought a hat. So like he bought into it. But yeah, go ahead and tell everybody about Lego Man from Mayhem Maniacs podcast.
Okay, well, he's living up to his name of Mayhem Maniac. Loved him. I thought he was great. But he was like there in the like first row of the balcony, like just like trying to start Mayhem chants. Like his life depended on it. And
And
he
he
was
was
really
getting
good.
some
He was
stuff,
a good
yeah.
hype man, right? Yeah. But like all I remember is like he's sitting up there like starting Mayhem chants. And then there's this guy in front of us who's an Atlanta fan, and he's just like giving him the evilest glare I've ever seen anybody give anybody in my whole life. Like I was like, man, I'm a woman, and that was an evil glare that you just gave, right? Like I've seen a lot of those in my life, but that was bad. And it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. But he's sitting there just like chanting, and every time he started chanting, he'd get, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 seconds in, and then Atlanta chants would just like completely like diminish anything that he was doing, right? It sounded like he was chanting for Atlanta at that point.
Yeah,
It was entertaining.
he seemed like he was getting really angry. I talked to him later that night at the after party, and he was like, "Oh, I wasn't really that mad. I just thought it was fun for the time." I was like, "That's the perfect attitude you should have."
And it
No,
totally
he was having
was
fun.
fun.
Yeah, at
Yeah.
that point he got angry or anything. Because
Wait,
at one point,
wait, which one were you saying you were talking to? Can
Oh,
we clarify here?
Oh, I talked to the Atlanta fan that
Okay.
seemed actually really mad, and kept
Did at
yelling
one
back
point,
at him, "Dude, bro, you're 2-15." And he's like saying all this stuff to him, but later on in the night, I talked to him, and he said that he shook the guy's hand, the Mayhem guy's hand later, and he was just saying he was doing it, in the moment, and it was fun, and I just thought that was a great attitude to have, just
Yeah,
it's like
they're just
rivalry
playing up the
without,
rivalry.
yeah,
Yeah.
without any violence, you know.
Like rivalry for fun, you know what I mean? Because one thing is
Yeah.
to cheer for your team and be like, boo, the other team kind of thing. And then that's sad. And another thing is to make it personal, right? Like, oh, you don't like my team, then let me go, beat your ass over there. Like that's when it crosses the
It's
line,
like
right?
yeah, it's like going to certain football stadiums where it's like, I'm probably just not gonna wear my Chiefs gear here because I might like not ever return home. Like, there's certain places like that.
It
Yeah,
was
but those two were just having fun because they were screaming at each other, and I was right behind them. And then while they were
yep.
screaming at each other, the Atlanta guy accidentally hits me with one of those little inflatable sticks that they have to like bang on each other.
Yeah.
But like a very light hit, like barely grazes me, and he immediately like changes his demeanor. He's not yelling anymore. He turns to me looking super concerned. He's like, "I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "Oh no, dude, it's all good. It's all good." So he was definitely not like anger or anything, or not trying to be violent. He was just playing off of it.
Okay, let's talk about the one time though where the guy starts screaming like, "Let's go mayhem," right? And then it's like silent for 2 seconds, and DeFran just stands up and goes, "Florida sucks."
Yeah, because DeFran
Because
was
he was on the
like,
same rope, just like
yeah, he was like just,
25 seats down or
yeah, like
something.
20 seats to the right of us. But let's talk about chants, because you talk about chants. Atlanta's chants were loud and good, but it was very, Saturday, it was very one size fits all. ATL, ATL, ATL. And I mean, and they would just speed up, speed up, speed up, speed up. But you guys did up your game on Sunday with some better chants. Like you had "Let's go defense, crew, crew." Let's and like they were getting some different things in. So I think you guys
I
can
will I
evolve.
will say though, you gotta give us a little bit of time. This is our first homestand game,
Well,
and Saturday was
Dallas
the
is
first
first.
we ever got together. So we're still working on our chance, but I think they're coming along.
There were
Do you
like
have like a
six
writer that's kind of
at
giving you the
Dallas.
material here?
We need to get a chant guy. I wish we could move Florida Mayhem guy into Atlanta because he was great. He
He
was
was
great at
good.
hyping. If he
He
had
was
been on the
good.
Atlanta side, he would have had
I
a
mean,
huge crowd
he
behind
would have.
him.
I'm surprised Paul didn't go and be like, "Hey, man, if you put this jersey on and just do Atlanta, there's 200 bucks in it for you."
It
He
comes out.
said he wouldn't
He
mind
comes
being a
out
hype
next
man,
week.
so
He
we
comes
should hit
out
him up.
next week with the Atlanta Maniacs. It's like yes.
But I thought
No,
it was interesting because what you're seeing there is there's going to be different chants, like different styles of chants across the different stadiums. Like NFL teams do different things. Like for instance, like I don't like the Broncos, but the Broncos have a really cool thing that they do when they're at home. All of the crowd, anytime a quarterback throws an incomplete pass, the entire crowd goes, incomplete. And it's really cool. And no other stadium does that, and it's just different things that different stadiums do. And I think it's going to give a little bit of
Home flavor.
customization. Yeah, a little bit of flavor to what venue you're at.
I mean they did sing na 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 na
Na
na
na
na
na
na.
na.
Hey
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 hey.
hey. Goodbye. And they
Goodbye.
sang it after what they won map 3,
Yeah,
and then it was
Yeah.
over, and
it
they
was
still had to
epic.
play another map. Poor guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall it's really good. I mean, if it's been anything to show like the Dallas and now the Atlanta homestand is that they work, right? I think that fortunately both teams have done a really good job of putting the event together. Both times the production was really good. I did hear there were some hiccups on the ABC broadcast or something like that. There were some caster hiccups.
I think Mel heard some
Um,
stuff about that.
yeah,
I
so I don't know
heard, but I
exactly what
haven't
happened
seen.
there, but from what I know, the Twitch broadcast and the production in the arena in general, or not the arena, but the venue, the theater was really good. So it speaks well for the future, and I think that the players and the fans are really excited for the teams to come home. After the homestand, talking to a lot of the players, they were like, "Dude, I can't wait," etc., etc. A lot of them were excited to be hanging out in the city. So I don't know. I'm excited to for next season for them to come over
Well,
and be more of a permanent fixture.
hopefully you don't have like a lull after the storm like Dallas did. It was like the home game, like hype, and then they kind of
Now they have to go back to LA where they're just one of the bunch again.
right. No,
Yeah,
like
I mean, I
seriously though, I
think that's
think
what
that
took.
affected Dallas.
Yeah, I've said it multiple times when OGE asked to be benched. I think it was the highs of the homestand weekend because OG was the star. Like he was the star of Dallas homestand weekend. And to go back to LA where really the LA games get really good like the home games, but that's really it. I mean, there's never a time where any of the other 18 teams just get chance and all the cool stuff for them specifically. Like they get the fair weather people that'll change jerseys, but they don't get that type
Now,
of feeling.
let me ask you guys a question, and I'm kind of changing the topic here slightly, but what do you guys think of the 4 games per day? And do you think that maybe in the future that should be a good thing to keep going? Like if they're playing in a city, you play the 4 games maybe for 2 days,
No,
and you keep it up.
no, I think it's a horrible idea. I think, like, I get it. I get why they do it. I get that with the travel, people think that it needs to happen, but I think it's a horrible idea. I think that there's literally, you could play the other 3 games in a shed with nobody watching, and it'd be the same thing, right? Like, I don't understand. The reason for home games is that one team is home and one team is not that 2 teams aren't home. And you can't expect fans to want to go to a game that isn't their home team. Like if the Chiefs played and there was 3 before games before them, I wouldn't go see them. I'd just go for the Chiefs games. I'd be out in the parking lot tailgating until their game, right? Like,
Which is fine too. But
but I
if
just don't see
you
the
have
point
to
in it.
wait,
Why
but
pay for all of them to travel there?
in a perfect world, it would be awesome to do just one game, but I don't think that's a sustainable model moving into the first year of home games. They said half of everybody's games will be at home, but mark my words, my guess is a fourth of everyone's games will be at home and they will be playing in different cities. And I don't think that's bad either. There will be fans in different cities that do want to see the teams that are coming in town, just like when we go see Chiefs games here in Denver. So there will be that, and it's just like you said, it's the opening act and the amount of more concessions that they can sell and merchandise that they can sell while the people walk around when their game's not going on is just larger and it just makes more sense.
I don't
Well,
know. I
right,
think you
having
make
the
it
event,
best of 7 and have it over
ha-
2 days with 2 teams. That's just my thing.
having
I
the
get it.
event last for longer definitely keeps people there for longer. I just wonder, especially when they're going to other cities, like how are they gonna do it? Is it just gonna be 2 days of games, or are they gonna do maybe like 2 weeks where like these games are happening in Atlanta, for example, and we play 4 days this week and then 4 days the next week, then we're moving on to the next
But why do you have to have
region.
it in the same place? Like, why do you have to have if we have 4 games in a day, that's fine. But do they all have to be in Atlanta? I don't think so.
Well, the thing is for the players, it's a huge toll too. If you're changing cities for them like every week, right? Like every day they have to play in a different venue. That would be horrible for them.
But not every day. It's like
Lots of them seemed pretty worried about that when we asked them about the home
We had
games.
some comments about that, yeah, where they're like, we love the homestand and the crowds and the energy that they bring, but we know what it is like to travel. And if this is like a consistent thing, a lot of them were like, I think burnout is gonna be real with the travel schedule.
see, and
'Cause,
I
yeah,
disagree because I
when you're in
think
hotels and all that stuff, traveling and not eating your food, not sleeping in your bed, like it's hard.
correct, it is hard, but also half of your games are with a fan base that absolutely loves and adores you, right? So like right now they don't get any of that. And I think that if you can travel, and I'm saying they play one game a week. I don't think they play 2 games a week anymore, ever. Like I think when you go to homestands, you don't play 2 games a week anymore. That's just not a thing. Or you have 3 teams come and Atlanta plays 2 games, one Friday and one Saturday against 2 other teams. And then that's the other game is their bye week or something, right? But like, I just don't see the benefit. I think that venues will throw a fit about hiring the staff that's necessary to monitor the event for things that they're probably not making nearly as much money on, because let's be honest, when Atlanta wasn't playing, there wasn't as many teams, there wasn't as many people there, and they weren't buying as much stuff. But when
They
Atlanta
were
was
though.
playing,
They were walking around buying stuff instead of
eh,
watching the game.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I just think to keep the home stand feel, you really have to embrace what home teams mean. And there's zero other sports that have a game between 2 different teams at
Yeah.
their house.
Now,
Maybe
hold on real quick. Derpra in chat brings up a really good point. They could possibly mirror baseball and have a 3 to 4 game series where Atlanta plays the same team 3 to 4 times. I don't think it would work like
No, I think
like baseball in days, but they
she's
could
saying
do
like
it.
a 7 game series, 3 at one house and 4 at the other. That's what baseball does. So like if
I see what you're saying.
Atlanta
Yeah,
and Kansas City
for
plays, they play
playoffs.
3 games at one stadium and 4 games at the other. No, not for playoffs, for every game,
Yeah, you're
for
right.
every series.
Yep.
Right.
I
Which I
don't know
think
that
would
that would
not
work.
work. It would not work with this because of the global aspect of it, right? You can't play 3 games in Houston and then 4 games in Shanghai, right?
But if you
But I
did
think
it
divisions are going
where
to get.
Atlanta played Mayhem for a 3 game series on the same day where they played one, 4 map set, then another 4 map set, then if they tied those, they play another map set for the tiebreaker. Now that would definitely tell you who the best team is, at least
Oh,
on
that's a
that
lot though.
day. Yeah,
That
it's a
takes away
lot.
any given Sunday though, right? Like, and that's a lot for you're looking at casual fans wanting to like come to the arena and watch these games. Like 4 games at an arena is exhausting. It's just a lot. Like you can't
it
expect
is.
the casual fan to be able to do that
It is, but
or want to do
I
that.
don't think they expect him to do that. I mean, I don't think it was bad at all that the seats were half filled the majority of the time. Like the main events, what you watch in any NFL stadium, the seats are only full half of the time. Like that's
Right.
fine. That doesn't matter. They're out buying crap, and an Overwatch League game is short. So if you want to watch Atlanta, you have to plan to be there that entire match. So the other time, if you're an Atlanta fan and don't want to watch the other games, that's the time for you to buy merch, for you to get concessions. And I think it's a good thing. 4 games might not be the right number, but I think you at least have at the very least 2, and you have a warm up match with different teams because it's a lot cheaper to fly like multiple people there and do one venue than to have venues all across, because what you're saying, you would need 10 venues running every week.
For a shorter amount of time. Like I just don't think that's unreasonable. They've already got the venues. Like,
Shorter amount
yes,
of
they have to
time though,
man
but
them.
like you have to hire these people and they don't want to work for a 3 or 4 hour day.
Yeah, they
I guess
do, but
we'll.
also they're also making money.
Here,
Like
I
the
play.
teams are making money
Mel,
though.
you have had plenty of time. I play.
I
Yeah,
was
but you
gonna
just
say
combated my point.
we'll have to see how they're gonna do it. I just brought up the point because I thought that having 4 games in 2 days is a lot, and that's how they've been doing it lately. But I don't know if maybe as the league progresses and they expand and becomes cheaper for them to create the broadcast, and it becomes more, your average game. Um, they'll reduce that quantity into more like sports have been doing it nowadays. Because I think that right now they're still pumping in a lot of games, and probably it is to get that return on investment, right? More time on camera, more advertisements that they can fit in. Um, the events last longer, so people are roaming around for longer, more chances of them selling stuff. But I just gotta say, it is kind of exhausting. It is a lot of content. It is a lot of things that are hard to consume all at once. I guess that
Mhm.
was my point.
Gotcha,
I agree.
gotcha.
What do you think about like at the Dallas homestand they had like a halftime show with the like
Mm,
guy that like came out with like
yeah.
the techno stuff, and at the Atlanta homestand they had more of like the 1v1 like exhibition matches.
That's the word I was looking for earlier. Exhibition.
Oh,
Thank
somebody
you.
said it in chat.
Ah,
Yes.
thank you.
But I don't know. I feel like they're very different, but I do think that if we get more home games next season, I feel like halftime shows are going to be a thing, right? To draw even more people to come and
And to
like
get like,
see that.
and I bet it'll be a lot of, to start with, I bet it'll be a lot of local talent in different
Right.
cities, and that will be neat for them to get to get exposure. But if we're talking about the halftime show, Dallas won that one because
But I don't
Dallas's
even
was
think that Atlanta
epic.
had a halftime show.
They didn't,
No,
so
it was the
therefore,
games. It,
yeah,
it was
therefore they
like the
won.
Yeah.
Torb 1v1.
Yeah, which Torb 1v1 I must say was better than the Dallas halftime show.
Wow, no, I
But
disagree completely.
It
listen,
depends on like what you're
different
looking for
English here.
in the halftime
Yeah,
show.
I guarantee you,
Who are you catering to,
If
right?
I play was there with us, he would agree with me. Like that halftime show was
Well,
unreal.
Dallas was the concert, right?
Yep.
Like the
Yeah.
synthwave concert
Yeah, it
or
was
whatever
so
it was.
cool.
Mm.
I forget the guy's name, but I have him I have him saved on my YouTube now. I've listened to a bunch of his stuff now. It's really good. But
So the Dallas was also like a lot bigger though. It was 4,500 seats and Atlanta was only 2,750.
I thought
So
Atlanta
like
was 1,800. Was it 2,750? That's
It
that's
impressive.
what I saw.
was like a 2,000 to 2,500 seat venue, I
Yeah,
think.
I
I
can't
read an article that
believe.
said 2,750.
Yeah, I can't believe
Okay,
that
it
it
might
was
be 27. I don't know the
2,750.
exact number, to be
Just
honest.
just looking at the size of the arena itself, I think 1,800 is the
It said
right number.
local organizers reported a sellout of 2,750 seat theater for both yesterday and Saturday.
Who reported that?
SBG Daily, Sports Business Daily Issues, or Sports
Hmm.
Business Daily.
Interesting. Okay, because it definitely didn't look like that
That
many
was a big
seats.
venue. I could see 2,700 seats in there.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
if you
I mean
saw
it
the
was,
Dallas one, you'd be like, okay, well, yeah, this is definitely it.
but
Like
yeah, but
Dallas was
Dallas
like
had
double the size.
4,500.
I
So
guess
like
that's
it
close
was
to double.
almost double the size,
Yeah.
right? Like, but it was also a different atmosphere. Like the Atlanta one was definitely closer to the Blizzard Arena. Like it was like that type of seating.
It was a
Whereas
theatrical arts theater as opposed to a sports arena, which is the one. Dallas was in a sports arena, and this was a performing. Like, there's no floor seats in Atlanta because it's just seats. It's like where they throw operas and ballets and things of that
and
nature.
just musical theater, like
Yep.
plays and all sorts of stuff.
Hmm.
But it was a different atmosphere, and I think the biggest thing I noticed was the like outside of it, like when you'd go out of the arena or the theater, like the outside of it at Dallas was definitely more like bars, food, like concessions, get your
Vendors.
stuff going, right?
But I
And
mean, that's
the vendors were kind of like tucked away in the ballroom at this one.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I didn't even
kind of their
notice
only
until halfway
choice.
through.
Yeah, it was
Right,
kind
I
of their
get
only
that.
choice there, whereas the arena style
Okay, let
stadium.
me finish. Let me finish.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I get that that's the way that it was
Yeah, I was just
filmed.
gonna explain to the audience the difference in the landscape of the arena versus the theater is all.
Okay, go ahead.
So like an arena has like entrances to the area to watch on all sides in like kind of a circle. For Dallas, it was kind of a U because it wasn't a full arena because they blocked off the last bit of it. But walking around, there were vendors everywhere. Whereas at Atlanta, you had a theater. And so to go find the desk and the merch and the different vendors, you had to go to this ballroom that was kind of off the beaten path. And so a lot of people didn't know to get there, and like some people didn't even know like Mel until halfway through. Like I played, did you even see that ballroom?
No, I didn't know until they were like, "Hey, go check out the other ballroom. They might still have the baseball jerseys over there." Because I was trying to find one. Apparently, it got sold out in like the first 30 minutes of the venue opening up. So that's when I realized that there was a whole nother section on the other
Yeah.
side. But they were still sold out over there. I was like, ah.
Yeah, and one slip up that they had was they didn't have any TVs there. And like a lot of people wanted to check out Sideshow, Bren, Zoe on the desk, and they had to go over there to find them, but then they had to miss the games because there was no TVs. In
Oh, yeah, good
Dallas,
point. I didn't even think about that.
yeah, I just thought about it because like I went back there a couple times. I was trying to watch their monitors
They
to
did
see
have
it.
TVs.
They didn't.
They 100% did. They were just in the hallway.
That's not in the ballroom though.
Okay, but
That's,
they were like literally like if you were at the doorway of the ballroom, there was one right there.
yeah, but you want to be in the ballroom. And I had multiple fans of not us, but of the Overwatch League. Like they were like, "Why is there no TVs?" I mean, I literally talked to probably 8 different people with that complaint. So that was definitely a drop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's also one of those things though where it's like this is a one-time event for them at this location. So like there's only so much they can do.
Yeah, I think that they did a pretty good job overall. I mean,
Oh,
everyone
they
in the
did
venue
an
felt
amazing
nice.
job. Yeah, no, we're just talking about the differences, not that they're bad or good.
hmm They were both I think what's really cool is that they were both awesome and both very different.
Hmm.
And I think that that's really awesome. You know,
And all of
like
them are gonna be like that based
yeah.
on, it's the teams who have to throw them. So it's going to depend on the owners of each team, the culture of the city. Over here in Atlanta, I think that we had a big focus kind of like on certain things. In Dallas, the focus was on different things. And when you go especially overseas, like London
It's
or
gonna,
Seoul,
yeah, I
like
know it's
that's
gonna
gonna
be
be pretty
neat.
cool. I'm actually kind of excited to see if we can travel overseas to some of these events because
hmm
it's one of the best ways that I've found to visit other cities, not only because you get a good excuse to go, but also because everyone that is cool is already over there, right? Like your crew of gamers is there, so it's easy to find people to go explore the city and have fun. And then you get to still kind of bond over Overwatch, which is a super cool and easy icebreaker, right? Like, why are you here?
right.
Oh, you're gonna watch the games? Oh, me too. Let's go hang out. That easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Blizzard, will you send us overseas? Because I don't know that we can afford that with our Patreon. So,
I
sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. Nope.
No, because I'm about to change the topic.
Oh, I was just saying, I think the last thing I wanted to talk about was like the fact that Dallas had Jay, which is like a Dallas person, as their like hype guy, and Atlanta had Golden Boy as their hype guy, which Golden Boy obviously we know is an amazing hype guy. We all love him, right? But it seemed more Overwatch League driven rather than like Atlanta specific driven, right? Like he was pumping up the Atlanta crowd, but I think because to me, because I watch all the games, he was just a familiar voice of like Overwatch League that it kind of like
See,
was more confusing in that way, right? Like that was just
Yeah,
my take.
we needed more bias. Like he's
Right.
from New York already. Like we
Yeah.
needed to get an Atlanta guy that was like
Y-
extra biased with
That's what I'm
Atlanta.
saying. Like you needed somebody who like had no question. Like this is you need like the mayhem maniac Atlanta guy.
Yeah. He didn't do a bad job, but I agree. We
No.
needed a little bit more bias there.
well, and I think that's a little unfair though, because the comparison is not fair. Golden Boy got very little time compared to Jay. Jay was literally hyping the crowd in Dallas every 2 to 3 minute break throughout the entirety of both days. He was walking through the crowd, shooting t-shirts off with a t-shirt gun, walking with the Bud Knight, uh, interviewing fans and giving them VIP upgrades and just keeping the local crowd entertained and in the arena while stuff was not happening. And I think that was the difference. Like Golden Boy came on, but he came on between matches. Jay was
Right.
on the entirety of the entire day each day. And so I think it's an
But I don't
unfair
think that's
comparison.
unfair because that was the production. Like the production was like, Jay, get the people hype. The production for Golden Boy was more like, hey, here's your times to come on and get the people hype, right? Like, so I don't think it's unfair to state it because I think if they did have an Atlanta hype man, he would have done the same thing that Jay did.
Well, I think actually it was just the fact that in the Dallas one, you had these huge aisles on the floor that you could walk through. Like anybody could get around anybody, but inside the theater, there wasn't a lot of places to walk or around with a camera crew. And so therefore, I think it just didn't lend itself well to that crowd hype atmosphere, like just the possibility to
That is
crowd hype.
true. Golden Boy was like pointed at these two people for the awkward hug cam. Did you guys see this part?
Hmm.
He's like
Yeah, I saw
pointing to these
that.
two people on the floor for the awkward hug cam, and the camera just kept going to different people. They're like, I can't get to you, dude. I don't know where that is. Like,
Although the awkward hug cam with the two dudes was pretty hilarious.
it was pretty epic. And I don't want it to sound like I'm like negative Atlanta homestand event because I had an unbelievably amazing time. It was an unbelievably amazing experience. And to be honest, I'm probably just a little bit biased because I'm a Houston fan and Houston was at the Dallas homestand. So like that's
Well,
probably
let's talk about another thing that Atlanta killed it on. Atlanta put media and all press conference activities in the middle of everybody on the second floor so that any fan could come up and watch press conferences and then wait till after the interviews were over and then they could get their memorabilia signed by whatever player they wanted that was there. The players were able to walk over and talk to them. It was gated, but it was gated in a way that they could see everything and they could come and talk to their favorite players. And I thought that was really cool because Dallas had the press conferences kind of sectioned off, and no one besides press was allowed into that area.
yeah, there was like a curtain and you couldn't even like, see what was happening in there. And I do think I will say, Atlanta, high five on the media because you guys killed it.
Oh my
The
gosh, yeah.
media was unbelievable. And
Yeah,
the
they
way
made it very accessible and just overall were treated us super nicely and it was super easy to get content with the players. I like that they gave us time to do one-on-ones rather than just a
Mhm.
big press conference because the big press
Oh
conference
yeah.
doesn't give you a lot of room to do much. And
To
I
be honest,
feel
I think
like
it's
you're kind of
worthless.
rushed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel press conferences are worthless content.
Yeah, well, for us especially, right? Like there's just not a lot of content we can gather from press conferences and I just think they're not as personal.
No,
And
not at all.
I think allowing us to do short one-on-one interviews with the players and a lot of the players came up, it wasn't just one or two. And I I think they killed it there. And I loved seeing that when the players were done with press conferences, they were more than happy to walk over to the like ribbon that was in between them and the people watching them, and like Bob said, sign things and like hang out with people and just take it all in.
And I've got to give a huge, just big ups to Paul, the owner of the Atlanta Reign. So, I know Hastro is super into his games, but at the Dallas one, he was in a private suite up top, with all the big wigs. Whereas Paul was sitting in the middle of the theater with everybody else, very center. He could have had a private area. They had him up top. But instead, he's sitting in there with everybody, and he is sitting there on the edge of his seat during both Atlanta games. And this type of owner is the type of owner that is just extremely healthy for the Overwatch League. I mean, we're not going to see Robert Kraft in the middle of the crowd at the home games, although I guess Robert's son is the one that
It's
really
probably for the
runs
best.
that. Yeah, I mean, Robert's son is, from what I found out this weekend, is the one that actually really runs the Boston Uprising. It's not Robert, but it's I just thought it was so cool, and he's into the game and he's getting excited when they're doing good, and that's just something. Like, he's not in it to make money. He's in it to like change, what we think of
Oh, don't get me wrong.
esports.
He's definitely in it to make some money. It's a big investment for him. But I do like that you're right. He has the passion for it, and I saw him speak like 2 weeks prior at his own company, Cox. He was doing this big summer event where he invited Zoe as the ambassador of Overwatch League, and he was basically almost like coming out to his company, telling them like, hey, we bought an esports team, and here's what esports is.
He brought
Um,
Zoe.
he
That's
brought
such a
Zoe to
cop
back him
out.
up.
Here's what esports is. Here's Zoe. Come on.
I mean, Zoe's a great ambassador, though. She explained it really well,
She
and
is
I mean,
amazing.
she probably knows more about Overwatch League than he does. So
No, I
she
know, I know. I was just
she
making
brought it for
fun.
that. But that being
For
said,
that, totally that.
yeah, like he's super into it. He seems super passionate when he spoke about it. He didn't strike me as a guy that just saw a good business opportunity and was like, "Oh yeah, here's a good investment. Here's some money. Let's do it." No, he's in it. He understands the game. He knows the memes too. Like he's into a pop culture. So I agree with Bob. He's
He
a good
was
owner to have.
he was cracking up every time Dufran did something like funny. Like when Dufran yelled at the Florida guy, he was just like, "Oh God."
Uh, did either of you have the opportunity to meet him?
Yeah, yeah. I've talked to him a couple times.
Well, yeah. This was my first weekend that I met him, and one of our friends in Blizzard PR introduced me at the after party, and I was thanking him for everything, and his line was, "Yeah, I'm definitely not in this to make money," and like I believed him when he said that.
It's
When
because he gave it all away at the after party.
I know.
Yeah, he definitely knows how to throw a party.
A very generous man. But I just was completely impressed with the fan base, and just everything at the whole weekend just felt amazing. And like you said, media was treated really good, and we had some really good media leaders that really got us great content, because we knew what players were coming, we knew when they were coming, we knew when to be there, and they just took care of us really, really well. And so I definitely think that, going forward, different, teams are going to be very different for how, like, for the whole process. Like, some are going to be in just an auditorium, some are going to be moving from venue to venue. Like, we've heard Florida might, rotate locations, and it's just going to be it's an exciting time to be an Overwatch esports fan. And with the possibility of 222 coming in, we could see a lot more structure a lot more just good balance of the game, and I think it's looking bright. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to say about the homestand? Are there any games you wanted to talk about too?
I would say just an amazing experience overall. The games were really cool, especially the Atlanta ones. I think that Atlanta came out swinging. They were super confident. They were feeding up the crowd. They gave us what we wanted. We regained a little bit of points there that we definitely need for the standings. At this point, I don't know if it's even possible for us to make it to the top six, but
You can make the play
maybe.
in
Yeah,
I think we can still make the play in. So
for
I
sure.
think we
play-ins
have at
definitely.
least a little hope for that. So
Right.
not all hope is lost. At least the homestand gave that to us. I think it opened up the door for that to happen because we were going down a spiral that whew, I'm glad we're out of that.
Wasn't pretty.
No.
Yeah. I think for me, the only other thing about the games that weekend were like the charge really showed up.
They did,
And
yes.
like I guess the charge against the Justice didn't surprise me, but the charge Thursday or
Against Dragons.
Saturday against Dragons going 3-1, like
Yeah, and that was the game
okay.
everybody missed because the arena was empty.
I
Like
know.
we heard about it like at Battle
Maybe
and
the
Brew
charge does
later
better in
on.
silence. Maybe they're like, it's like a scrim. Okay,
The
we got
But
this.
sound of
See, they got scrim bots.
silence.
but the Charge and the Dragons will have their day. Like the league is gonna go to China, and when they go to China, they'll get the same feeling, probably like times 20. Like I don't even want to imagine
But the
the
charge
China
hasn't looked good at
homestand.
all. But the charge hasn't looked good at all this season or this stage.
Yeah. Well, this season they've
And they
had it
beat
pretty tough.
Dragons. And then Dragons has looked good. And I don't know, I didn't see it, so I don't know. But then the Dragons come back and beat Fusion 3-1. Like,
I heard a lot of the Fusion crowd was sick. Actually, I think EQO was like super under the weather or something.
Yeah,
oh, kind of like
yeah,
Megachu
EQO.
tried to like talk about being sick before the Torb 1v1. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see
I
that?
didn't see it.
Megachu
Yeah, that's
definitely
that.
put out a tweet that was like me versus sickness, like sad face, right? And I was like, don't even. You're just trying to give yourself an out if you lose. I
Dude,
see
if I
right
had
through
to
you.
put my money on it, DeFran's so nice he just let him win.
No,
Dude.
that friend was too
Hot
into
take.
it.
No.
Hot take.
No.
No.
But yeah,
I
so
disagree.
EQO was definitely sick because the dude's always shows up for interviews, and we didn't get to see him both days. So I'm sure EQO was for sure sick.
I mean, that's fine. They beat the Justice 3-1 on Saturday and then lost 1-3 to the Dragons. That's not horrible.
Oh, we did.
Or Fusion can't live one weekend without Chef Heidi's food.
We did get to give away all of our cute but deadlies. Is that right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we ran into a lot of listeners of the show, and it was wonderful to meet all of you. You guys all know who you are, especially you, Depra.
Deborah just said that Devrin just tweeted out that he was drunk most of the weekend. No, like 100%, I can confirm that he was getting in character for Torbjorn and was drinking.
I
Okay?
can't confirm or deny. It looked like apple juice to me. But
Mine was also apple juice, so don't worry about it.
There was a lot of apple juice this weekend.
Yeah. Okay, one more thing. Can I talk about one more game?
all right, but we're running a little bit long, so go.
I
But
know.
we
One
got to
more
make
game.
it a little short.
So or one more team, the Defiant. So like Defiant has looked like up and down, I feel like. And they lost to the Rain, which okay, homestand, right?
Nobody's gonna blame you for losing to the rain this weekend.
Right. But then they listen NYXL 04. Like, what do you think I play? What do you think is their comeback? Like, do you think it was just like we had to play Atlanta at their homestand and then we had to play New York? Like, or do you think they're
I
kind
think
of
so. I think that
just
for Toronto at least, it was just a very tough weekend. Yeah, they're playing the homestand team, and they're also playing New York, which is looking really good lately. I think they've
yeah,
done some big adjustments. The ABOB switches are working. They found a different style to the meta right now, and I think they're taking quick advantage of that. They're still the second best team in the overall standing. So
Oh yeah.
anytime you're going up against New York, unless you're Atlanta, you should be worried.
I thought it was funny. We interviewed Fate, and it reminded me that he's been booed twice at 2 home games in season 2. He was booed as Valiant and then booed as Mayhem. And that's something we didn't mention. The boos happened. It wasn't as bad as Dallas, but they definitely happened.
It was pretty bad.
And
It was,
Gods was like, come on, give it to me, give it to me. Like
I
that
will
was
say
great.
Toronto
I think they were
was
expecting
great
it this
sports.
time.
Yeah, for sure. But they were great sports about it, right? Like they were like getting into it. But when Atlanta went off, like the energy that came from especially Baby Bay and Dogman, like standing up, like talking to the crowd, like it was awesome.
And Baby Bay's comments after that last game when he's like, they asked him about him and he just changed it to, enough about that. I just want to thank the fans. Thank you so much for coming out. I mean, Baby Bay could start becoming the face of the Overwatch League if other
Listen,
players aren't careful.
Baby Bay's mom
Oh, we did talk about the star of the show.
is awesome.
This is the absolute last thing we could talk about, but Baby Bay's mom.
Yeah, I know. I just brought it up. She's awesome. And we had multiple conversations with her because she was just super cool. And she wore this like shirt that said like Mama Bay on it, which I thought was hilarious.
Mama Bay.
She was super proud of him.
Yeah. And she was telling me about how when Bay gets older, he's gonna have a more defined jaw and he's gonna look like a man truly. And I was like, man, he's gonna change it to Man Bay, and she was just like cracking up. But she was just so cute. And then like at the last match, she like pops off on Widow and she's like walking out of the stadium or out of the arena or I don't know what to call it, theater, whatever, like right in front of us. And I was like, baby popped off. And she's like, I know. I'm so proud of my boy. Oh my God. And then she walks out. She's like, I'm gonna cry, so I just need to walk out. Okay.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
some of
that's
the
cool.
moms are epic. Zachary's mom's epic. Baby Bay's mom's epic. Leakser's mom's epic. Like there's some
Jake's mom?
really good. Oh yeah, Jake's mom's been on Omnic Lab. Like there's some really cool moms in the league, and it's just really cool seeing them support their child's dreams, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense to them because they just didn't grow up with that. But yeah, shout out to Baby Bay's mom.
It's good to get their perspective
Yeah, it
too.
was
Like I
cool.
just love to hear like what did you think of this? Like I love asking him that question. Like, what did you think when your son was playing video games? Like, and I just think it's awesome. And they're just like watching them at the homestands is like a whole new level, right? Because they get to see this like my son is a sports star, like
Yep.
this whole different thing that was not in their like mindset before, right? Typically. But
Yep. Do you have any thoughts about Baby Bay's mom?
Oh, she was great to meet. I really enjoyed her. We talked to her a lot. And overall, it's just nice to see that she was so proud of her son and that she was there to support him. And it happened with a lot of the other players. Their families were also there. So it's nice to see that and to see that slowly, like that perception of like, I don't know about video games as being a viable career is slowly eroding. And the more families and people that are getting involved and see those events, the kind of like the sooner the snowball rolls down the hill, right?
Yep.
baby's mom said video games kept him off drugs. So we're good.
That was her guess.
She was joking.
She talked about him. She's like, he's my golden child. He's so my golden child. And I mean, that's a testament
Not
to
that
like,
the other ones were awful. Come on.
yeah, but that's just a testament to like, I keep telling everybody, if you meet Baby Bay, you will instantly fall in love with him. Like he is arrogant in a good way, and he is a
He's confident.
I guess that's basically what it is. Like, because arrogance would mean he looks down on others, and he never does. I mean,
Doesn't.
he was extremely protective of his teammates. Like, even in the after party, like he seems like a good leader and just a good all around dude. But we have run a little bit long, so we're gonna start ending the show. All right, we're gonna wrap up. So. Oh, one little bit of housekeeping before we go. So there's a new fantasy Overwatch website. It's fantasy based on daily format. So instead of highdo.gg where you have to like draft and like it's just daily, so you can play as much as you want or as little as you want. And it's called fantasyowl.com. That's fantasyowl.com. And what's cool is that right now they have just started out. They're doing a whole progression model. So you have a level on the site, and you gain level by playing more games. There's a bunch of different things you could do. You earn coins by winning matches, but you can also earn coins. If you haven't caught up on our interviews on YouTube, you can earn coins straight from their site by watching our interviews. And so that's a way to jump in. And you only use coins for ranked matches. It's kind of a hard format to explain audio wise, but it's basically if you put coins in and then you win more coins. If you win and you level up, you get more perks as you level up. I encourage you guys to check it out at fantasyowl.com. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow us at Owl Recap. If you want to say something a little bit longer, you can send your emails to contact@owlrecap.com. If you want to hang out with us in Discord, you can go to discord.me/OmnicLab. We have game nights every month, last Friday of the month. This month, it's on the 26th. I play. Do you want to give a little info about game night?
Come hang out. That's all I gotta say. It's super fun. We do it at the last Friday of every month. Like Bob said, this time is going to be on the 26th. And it's just a great time to come meet other people. If you need friends on your friend list, I guarantee you can end up with like 30 people in one night, easy peasy. And in general, it's just really fun. Last time we had a lot of um, workshop games, and then we went straight into competitive. We had a good time. I was playing all kinds of different heroes that I don't normally play, so it's a great time to experiment because everyone's very lenient and they don't really care what they play. They just want to be friendly with everyone else. So come hang out with us.
Yeah, and it's everybody of every SR. Don't be timid to come in. Just come play. It's a really good time. We stream live weekly on twitch.tv/Owl Recap. We usually do it Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. And we are also on, we've been on forever. Most audio platforms, iTunes, Spotify. Most likely we're on whatever podcatcher that you use. How can you help the show? Tell your friends about the show. Shout it out. You can go a step further. You could leave us a review on iTunes. Those have been really dry. So if you have the app on your iPhone, you can do it straight from there. Please take the time just to at least hit the 5-star or maybe leave us a review. As iPlay says, it warms our hearts. If you feel compelled to support us even further, please go to patreon.com/owlrecap. We are planning on revamping that. If you have any ideas for perks, send them our way. All right, Mel, where can we find you?
Find me on Twitter at MelOverwatch.
And I play. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at I Play Games. You spell that IPLAI Games.
All right, I play. Can we end this episode with a "Let's Go, Dude"?
Let's go, dude!
See you guys on the next time.